What if all the FNaF locations from the FNaF 1 pizzeria to MCM are stacked on top of each other like a burger? That is the Fazburger theory. Yes, that's the real name, although the name isn't the most serious, it does hold a bit of ground. As far as I can tell, Cryonite was the first person to come up with it, so props to him. The theory proposes that most, if not all major locations in the FNaF games happen practically on the same plot of land, and that all the locations are just piled on top of each other. Some buildings are mostly destroyed, while others remain generally intact. Now, personally, I'm not entirely convinced of Fazburger, but I'm not necessarily opposed to it either. I'm just still thinking and theorizing about it to come to a more proper conclusion of whether I fully believe it to be true. It's not a medium to small size theory like did the MCI happen in 1987 or 1985. It's quite foundational, no pun intended, and has a ton of implications for almost every single piece of lore if it's true. I'm trying to be unbiased, and for me to do that I need to look at the good and the bad. So today I have some good to look at. While watching a FNaF video, I remembered a really old detail that might be a huge supporting piece of evidence for this theory. But first, let me talk about the name of the 5th FNaF game, Sister Location. I promise this is relevant, just stick with me here. Okay, if you were on the fanbase back then, you'll recall Sister's Location's name slowly being revealed to us on Scout's website. When the name was fully revealed, most concluded that this game would likely take place in a location that has some similarities to Freddy's, but is different with its themes and characters. A sister location. However, when we played the game and uncovered the story, we found out that this name had two meanings. The first one that I explained just now, and the second one being that Michael has visited this place to put his sister back together. So it's a sister location to Fazbear's and Michael's literal sister's location. Okay, so why did I bring this up? Because Scott's use of a double meaning here, in my opinion, might be repeated elsewhere. I'm sure everyone knows about the 3, maybe 4 infamous Scott Cawthon hints given to us on the GT livestream that attempted to solve FNaF 4. The 3 being, in the FNaF 4 minigame, why would the tiny toad Chica be missing her beak? What is seen in shadows is easily misunderstood in the mind of a child, and 4 games, 1 story. It's that last one I want to focus on here, because taken at face value, it's kind of a terrible hint. 4 games, 1 story. Yeah, obviously, no one thought otherwise, Scott. At the time, FNaF 4 was advertised as the final chapters. We all assumed it was related to the first 3 games. Why would he give us this hint? Until you look at it differently. 4 games, 1 story. 1 story, a literal story, like the story of a building. You know how some buildings have 5, 6, 7 or more stories? What if it was that meaning? That all these 4 games, the FNaF 1 Fazbear's, the FNaF 2 Fazbear's, Fazbear's Fright, and the FNaF 4 House are all just on the same literal story. One gets built, then demolished, and the other goes in its place. Also, something to add while I was editing, remember those FNaF 2 cutscenes? You know, the ones that play before every night? Well, we never had an explanation for those, and we still kinda don't, but I think one main takeaway could support this theory. Think about it. Why would the puppet be in the FNaF 1 location? Why would Freddy Fazbear's drag the puppet over to the new location after the FNaF 2 location closed because of the bite of 87? The puppet is no longer part of the branding. Unless they didn't drag that puppet at all. FNaF 1 was just built on top of FNaF 2, meaning the puppet never left. I know it's not a satisfying explanation, the puppet can fly after all, so maybe they just flew over to the FNaF 1 location, but I think it's an important detail that we missed. I mean, sure, the hint could be talking about how we're supposed to put the pieces together to figure out that these games are all about Michael, Dave, and William, and it's all their story, but that just seemed way too hard to figure out back then. I guess if we had been smarter, it's very possible we could have come to the conclusion that Foxy Bro is Mike Schmidt, and also Fritz Smith. Maybe. Actually, now that I think about it, what if Foxy Go 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 was symbolism for Michael knowing that his dad killed the 5 children, and we were supposed to use that to figure out that Foxy Bro is Purple Guy's son, and who we're likely playing as in FNaF 3. I don't know. Point is, I really think there's a strong case for that hint meaning a literal building story, because otherwise, it just seems kinda useless. It's a bit wild and kind of a stretch, I'm aware, but I thought it was interesting enough to point out. Like I said, I'm still not entirely convinced on the Fazburger theory, but it would explain a lot if it is true. This was a pretty short video, which seemed fitting as the first one on this channel. Expect more soon. Thank you for watching.